Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in my lab, and I'm in the book. Oh, I got a nice one for you today. We're gonna talk about the personalities, three personalities of God that's in you. Let's go. It's called consciousness. That's right. Right is 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's always a message in my stories. For life, I give life lessons. You tuning in to receive them? I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily, will help, and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get that together. So I asked the question, do you know you? Well, when I'm through, that's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and to might not be true. Right thinkers, P Funk philosophy will take you through the three personalities of God that's in you, starting with what they call the waking personality. That's the conscious mind. Let's see what they say about that. I'm going to take you to the dream, and I'm going to take you to the deep sleep. All those are concepts of God, and that those personalities, they all reside in you. Let's go. The waking personality is you being aware of the physical reality which we're conscious of right now. And it is this state in which consciousness uses your grossest senses in order to experience gross physical objects, meaning the physical body, the five senses. The only way the brain can communicate with the physical world is through those five senses. However, as we discussed in my Egyptian yoga book, The Philosophy of Enlightenment, Volume 1, and in Part 1 of this volume, your gross physical objects are really not physical at all. Which means, slow down. This finding, which mystics have held for thousands of years prior, has been confirmed by modern day physics. I don't do new nothing. Why? All y'all doing is proving the old stuff to be what we said it was when we were selling it. Y'all just got proof now. We had proof a long time ago. Thank you for catching up, but I'm not impressed. Okay, by modern physics today. And in reality, physical objects which are experienced in the waking state of consciousness are no more, watch this, realer than the objects that we experience in the dream state. Did you know that? Why? It's all up here. That's why. It ain't no difference. In the physical world, you pay attention, you just get the lesson out. So now the factor which makes them appear more real is your consciousness. Mm-hmm. In association with your senses. When you woke, you can taste, touch, feel, smell, and that's how you're dealing with reality right now in the physical world. But consciousness lends reality to the world depending on what state of mind you're in. Lucid, agitated, or dull. Lucid means to be conscious. Agitated to mean aggravated, distracted. And dull just means to be ignorant. Okay? You got it? So let's go. Now, and which is what? This is why you personally believe that your waking world is the real world, and why in your dream you believe the dream would be what? Real also. So they try to show you there ain't much difference. What side of the coin you fall on? Remember, the Aborigines and our Native Americans say that the dream world is the real world. And I kind of had to agree with that because of my studying and learning. I tell you, sleep is preparing you for death. Okay? That state of mind, that deep state that you go to in that dream state that you go every now and then, that's where you go in the end, coming back. That's understandable from a philosophical and Egyptian concept. So I agree with the Aborigines and Native Americans. The state that you when you sleep, that's the real state. What? Because that's where you're gonna go when this conscious state is over. So the dream ain't no different than the real, what they try to explain to you in your mind. Okay, it's all mental. But however, neither of them are real from what you call an absolute point of view. Philosophically, mythologically, no. Personally, you got to understand it's a fact. They are relative realities. Why? Because they have expressed or emanated out of what? Your own mind. It's figments of your imagination. As a thought, imagination, or even a daydream arises where? In the mind. This is all mental. Your personality is your persona of what you project. So your personality is who you are and what you project to people. So your waking personality, we call that Ptah, the self-created one. He uttered himself into existence. Why? He thought in his heart, conceived in his mind, and then manifested with his words of power. We call it Heka. Okay? When you pronounce something, manifesting it with your mouth, with the words, make it come to reality. That's what God has the power to do, and we're created in that image. So that's the only image of God that we're created, and the ability to do just that. The waking personality, what? Your waking personality, which is your ego self, it wants to have a physical experience with objects and things in the physical world. That's what it come here to do. That's what we're here to do. All that make a soul contrast. No, my mother and father got together. Wasn't no contract signed. They did their thing, and everybody else who made babies, they got together. They didn't sign no damn contract. And your soul, that's somebody's philosophy and concept. I ain't knocking it. I just don't subscribe to it. Why? Because I got philosophical points of view that contradicts that concept. That's why I got my arguments and I got my philosophy. So I don't have to listen to what somebody say, oh, yeah. No, I ain't agree with that nonsense. Okay? Why? I think and know better for myself. So the ego wants to have the experience. That's what it's coming for, to know itself. But it don't want to what? Be put down and not respected as God. It thinks it's God and it's not. But it's your world experience for what? For its own enjoyment and to interact with what? Through only the five senses. The ego is you in the physical world. Haru, your spirit, that's of God, is the higher you. That's when you got to become conscious. That's why studying and learning and living is important. That's why thinking is a prerequisite for knowing God. The dream personality, when you go to sleep, that's Ra. Okay? Why? Because the dream personality is characterized by what we call the astral existence. This name means that the experiences here are subtler than the waking state. The waking state is physical, right? Now you're going to the body's at rest. It's all in the mind now. The astral plane is the mental plane, okay? And it's a little more different. Watch this. However, there are no less real or intense while they're occurring, while it's happening to you. You believe it's real. Again, in the astral plane, when we go to sleep, unlike the physical world, events do not occur with the same laws, physical laws, the causal law as the awakening state. The physical state have different laws. The astral plane, watch this, the events don't occur as a result of other events in progressive manner and as it does in the waking state. Everything is processed, everything is the stages, everything I go through a process. But no, that's in the waking state, the physical world. But if you want to do something like go across town, you have to walk or to get in your car, turn it on, drive, etc. You got to make it happen. You got to physically do it. That's the physical state. Those are limitations that put on the mind because the mind can go farther out. That's what happens when you go to sleep. The mind takes this trip to the astral plane. Watch this. Now, in the astral plane, you're still you. You're still you in your mind, still everything in your mind. But now you can just think of being across town, and bam, you're across town. See what I'm saying? That's the power of the mind when it's in the astral plane. And the astral personality experiences while you're there with a subtle sense, while the waking personality experiences is more with a gross physical sense, the sense of the body. This is why there is experience in your dream, even though your body may not, your body may be sound asleep and is oblivious to the noises or the sensory stimulation in your waking world. When you're in the astral plane, I tell you, I'm taking you from here up. Why? I don't need the body. I just need this thing right here. That's why. And they show you a picture here. They got two pictures of it called Ptah in two different phases. Okay? This is him. The first one is Ptah at the noon. Okay? Ptah the noon to the left and Ptah Tanin to the right. One, he's conceiving. One, he's presenting. That's the noon. Other one, he's manifesting. See, you got all his regalia here, the cups, the crook, the flail, and the hat, the disc, the two upper and lower Egypt, all that signification. And this is the noon. The before anything, this is what they use the primordial ocean. That's the concept, okay? And Ptah brought himself out of there and conceived in his heart and mind. Watch this. And the third member of that I just showed you, Ptah, the noon to the left, Ptah, Tanim to the right, sitting in this chair, orchestrating. But the third member in the trinity of Ptah as the creator, emerging from the primeval waters, Noon, which he also created, that's him also, and as the primeval hill, Atum, the creator. So Ptah conceived in his heart, reasoning and consciousness. Heart, mind, coherence. That's what God is built on. Watch this. He conceived through reasoning and consciousness in his mind all that would exist, and at his utterance, aka words of power, hecker, power to make and manifest through words. Created the noon, he did, the primeval waters, the unformed matter and energy. And from that point on, we know it as the astral plane, in the astral plane in which your mind and your intellect is in full function. Okay, don't need the body. Okay, it's on its own accord, and the mind is unlimited. The body is limited. The mind is not. That's what they're trying to get you to understand. Watch this. So now it is this plane where your personality feels fulfilled by good thoughts, or in anguish or worry of sorrow and burdened by negative ones. Again, the balance that you have, you're in control of that. Too much of this way, too much of that way is not good. That's what balance means. But it is the plane of words, ideas, and thoughts, all functioning from this level of mental mind. And the substance of which your mind is composed of is three concepts. And this we're trying to tell you. And they are subtle forms of what we call undifferentiated matter. Thoughts arise in the form of differentiated, meaning have definition. Clumps of subtle matter, which the mind has now learned to be able to recognize as particular thoughts. Not good or bad, just thoughts and ideas. And they're based on the concept of assigning and then being recognized names and forms in what we call nature. Also, it is the plane in which your personality holds on to its self-concept, aka the egoism. Okay, that part of you, that is you. That's who you identify with, and that's fine. But that's not the real true you. That's what they're trying to get you to understand. I'm trying to get you to see. The egoism, instead of recognizing it's your true transcendental underlying essence of your true self, now this ego is holding on reflex in the gross manner through the physical body and the senses. Why? That hold on to physical possessions, pleasures of the flesh, monetary things, and the whole idea of what we call that body consciousness. If you don't serve the body, free the mind and the body follow. The body should not be leading. Why? It's human. It's egoistic. That's why it should not be in control. But since all matter is in reality the same subtle substance in different states of coagulation, from subtle to mass, okay, but in reality there is no differentiation in matter except what? Through the power of one's mind. Is conditioned. So it is your mind which leads reality to what? See duality in the world through the power to recognize differences. Good, bad, up, down, in, out, right, wrong. That's what the mind does. And make the differences in the appearance of all material objects, male, female, okay, in the waking world as well as the astral world of dreams and ideas. But in the dream world, none of those things matter. Why? Because there's no physicality in the astral plane. That's what we try to get you to understand. But your astral personality is the level in which desires and longings are what harbored. And that's where they manifest in the forms of your thoughts and your feelings. Again, there we go. You think it and you feel it, you're going to activate on it. These in turn will lead you, the person, to certain actions. Again, if they're negative, you're going to do bad things that the person believes will allow them to now discover the object of what? Their affection, their physical desires, and achieving what? Self-satisfaction by obtaining those objects or those things or the pleasures that you seek in the flesh. When I do that, I'm pointing to that guy. Okay. However, since your desires of your mind are what? You ready? Endless. And listen to me again. Your ego is the desires of the mind, and it is endless and can never be satisfied. That guy never satisfied. I can attest to that. And what they're saying, I can use it and go back and say, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they know what they talk about. Moving on. And watch this. That person now is led on what we know to be or after a seamlessly endless and a futile journey through life, just doing them. And they claim to be in search of happiness and satisfaction where they're not knowing that they're never going to be happy or satisfied in the physical world. So they keep doing it over. And watch this. Remember that over. When the objects that provide true satisfaction cannot be discovered in this lifetime, what happens? Now that astral personality, it survives death. Even though the waking aspect of your personality, your conscious, will die, but now your personality, that hidden side, survives your soul. And now what it does, it now seeks for what? More fulfillment. But they're in the astral plane, and that ain't going to do it for them. So the astral experiences, then after some time of getting bored, it now becomes associated with what? Another body. Ding, 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 ding. They weren't trying to get up out of here now. Now they decide they had enough. And becomes what? Born now into what? The waking state, again in the physical form, from a baby, a do-over, a mother again. So everything that you had, everything you know, you got to forget all that and start all over again from scratch. Like refinancing your house. You go right back to square one. I got the concept. I love it. I can prove it to you and show you. Watch this. But this process I just told you about is called reincarnation, or we call it now the cycle of birth and death. You're born to learn. If you don't learn, you're going to die ignorant and you're going to be born again. You won't, but the spirit will. That's what we be trying to tell you. You get one shot at it, okay? One and done. If you don't get it right, bye. Next man up. But let me wrap this up right now. But as stated earlier, your astral plane is also experienced in what? Your dream state. That's where you spend a lot of your time. There, okay? However, this is a negative experience. Why? because now you are just as much caught up in it as you were in the waking state. You ain't doing no better if you ain't woke. While you woke, you ain't gonna be woke in your dream. Sorry about that, but that's a fact. Let me get it out. Why? Now, in meditation, ding, 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 I couldn't wait to get there. If you're not meditating, you're not experiencing what I call the astral plane to your best ability. Why? That's where you want to go. That's where God dwells. That's how you get to Him. You didn't know that? Oh, I pray. That ain't getting to God. Meditating, hitting the astral plane. And now you can what? Experience consciously. What? God consciousness. That's what I tell you. I got God on my mind all the time. My mind's on God. Have you ever had a sudden, a waking, lucid dream? Have you ever woke up in your dream and realized you was woke but you still in the dream? That's called lucid dreaming. When I go to sleep, I already prepare myself to do just that. Moving on. That's when daily meditation, and I've been practicing yoga for over 12 years, so I know how to elevate my consciousness. I know how to control my dream state. That's practice. That's self-mastery, okay? And I have that. And your lucid dream, why? Because, or a situation in which you were between what they call waking and sleep. That thin barrier that, you're conscious, you're about to slide over to that unconscious, but you're right there, and watch this. And what happens? Suddenly your body is paralyzed, even though you are aware, but you can't move. Rarely, people sometimes experience what they call a dream and are aware that they are having or they're in the dream state. Every now and then it happens. And they are conscious. You can remember the dream. Why? Because you was aware. You lucid dreaming. When you remember your dream, that means you lucid dreaming. Why? You can recur what you was going through. A lot of times, now I don't remember what I dreamed about. Okay. In the deep sleep, when you go to Amun, you remember nothing. All right. But they are conscious of what? Of the astral plane and not of the waking body or the waking personality. Again, the objective of meditation, here we go, is to be able to discover and master the astral plane in a positive and a conscious way where you in control, and to be thereby allow your mind to expand and to fully understand that the waking and the astral plane are merely reflections of your true consciousness, which is God, is spirit and consciousness, heart and mind. That's what He is. But in reality, just as your experience in a dream is universe, and when you wake up from the dream, what you realize that entire existence, all that I went through, was just inside my mind. When you're comfortable with knowing that that's how the mind operates, you'll be more willing in an understanding of how to deal with it. And in the same way, when you wake up from the dream of the world of time, back in the world of time and space, by attaining what we call enlightenment, you should have learned something. You now discover that the existence of the world of time and space, the physical world, also occurs when you're what? Within your consciousness. And in reality, you are not just an individual, finite, and minuscule speck in this vast ocean of the universe. No, this is the clump to the ground right here. In truth, the universe is what? Within you. It is an emanation of your true consciousness. You are the source and the substance of the entire universe. Once you what? Know thyself. The next level is going to be the deep unconscious. That's Amun. I'll be back with that lesson in a minute. But right now, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 miles a day. So I never know that my right thinkers who learning the 3 personalities of God that's within them have passed away. I'll be back with number 3.